Hello breeders, readers, and everyone in between. It's a beautiful day to make a science baby. So it is currently Friday the 15th of October 2021, which a lot of people wouldn't even think about. So it is actually Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. And the easiest way to put it is, I'm just going to read it to you because it's easier than trying to make our own words of it. Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day is an annual day of remembrance observed on October 15th for pregnancy loss and infant death, which includes miscarriage, stillbirth, SIDS, ectopic pregnancy, and the death of a newborn. So, heavy topic.
So October itself is actually infant and pregnancy loss month, like awareness month, but today is the Remembrance Day, so we thought it would be, not technically a good day, but a good day to kind of touch on our experiences during our journey, and yeah.
Where do you start? It's not an easy topic.
It's really funny to think that, well, literally this time last year, we had just gone for a transfer. And within a few weeks after that transfer, we miscarried with our first.
So a little while after that, we went for another transfer. That was our second pregnancy.
The transfer number 4 that you guys know of from our videos.
And then that was our second pregnancy loss.
Then August 26th, we went for another transfer, which was transfer number 5.
Another pregnancy loss. Nobody tells you how much it hurts to see people around you announcing their pregnancies. And it's not like we're not happy for them or that we would wish any negativity towards anyone. Never. the ouch. It's almost like finding out that you're miscarrying is putting a wax strip on and then finding out that, you know, people around you are getting pregnant is pulling a wax strip off. And it's like, it's almost like you hardly even know that the pain is there until it is sat in front of you. How do you talk about it?
I think it's always a difficult topic to talk about, not only because you have to deal with, you know, your own emotions and your own feelings, but the fact that for so long it's always been a taboo type of topic. No one really wants to talk about it, no one really wants to hear about it.
And when you do talk about it, so many people are shocked that you have the audacity to bring such a thing up.
But can I just add, it's never okay to compare situations.
Never compare anyone's situation to anyone else's. Not your own to someone else's, not someone else's to someone else's. There is nothing to compare because everyone's experiences are so immensely different. And even if your circumstances are similar, your circumstances could be identical, but that doesn't mean the person who is going through it is the same, or processes grief the same, or can talk about it the same way as the other person can. There is no possible comparison.
I think after a while, pregnancy tests were a trigger for me. You know, when you get that confirmation on a blood test, you go home straight away and you take a pee test just to see that result on a pregnancy test at home. I know we did that every single time. It's just the visualization, you can actually see it. I hate pregnancy tests.
And sometimes the little things hurt even more than some of the big things you would think. Because even after taking those tests and then losing your pregnancy, almost feels like you're not allowed to throw them out. And the fact that what days before was such a happy thing becomes soul crushing.
I don't know how we continue to keep going. I remember after our first, I was terrified to do it again, but we did it. And then even the next after that, it was just...
And it almost feels like you don't believe it. So you're cautiously optimistic. And then it feels like the moment you start to believe that it might be okay, it gets ripped out from under you again.
And I know for me, it was having to think about, alright, do I really want to see my partner go through this again? Am I being selfish for wanting to do another transfer? Because it's not my body that's going through it. But I know that I absolutely hate seeing my partner go through that. Almost to the point where I'd rather give it all up so that we don't have to suffer any more loss. No one ever tells you how hard it is to lose a baby at home. Let alone anywhere, really. Like, it's just... I remember our first, we were told, did you find it? How sure are you that you've completely lost it yet? You know, they tell you need to keep an eye out for a particular looking thing. How do you prepare yourself for that?
You can't. You actually can't.
I remember after our first transfer, or our second transfer it was, and even though we didn't get a positive pregnancy test, we still had a transfer, and that's still an embryo loss. We couldn't even be in the presence of children, babies. It was hard, and it still is.
How do you reply to a pregnancy announcement on the day that your baby was supposed to be born? And then you can't tell them that, because then you're making it about yourself. And societally, that's unacceptable. There's no win.
Some things not to say to someone who's losing a child. And I'll add a disclaimer that any loss at any gestational time is a loss. No matter how far along you are still valid. Okay, that's my disclaimer. We were six weeks, 3 days along. It's been around the same bracket each time. I had someone ask,
how far along were you?
And I told them how far along we were, and to which their response was, oh, that's not that bad. You weren't that far along. Really? Did you know that a fetus heartbeat can be detected as early as 5 weeks?
I repeat what Paige said. No matter how far along you are valid. Your loss is valid. Because at the end of the day, people outside of your emotions, your feelings, and your story, they don't know what you're feeling and how ready and willing you are for this child that you're planning on having. Or even if you're just pleasantly surprised that you're pregnant and then you lose them, it is still a loss and you still have every right to grieve. And anyone who tells you otherwise, I think you get the message.
So in light of today, we are wearing our pins that my mum got us. They are I have a sunflower, which is one of our favourite flowers. Also our wedding bouquet with sunflowers, as well as a bumblebee. Yeah, and then this pin over here is a bumblebee on a sunflower.
I did end up in hospital for all 3 miscarriages. Not everybody does end up in hospital. Your cervix does dilate so that your loss can pass. And that hurts, physically and emotionally. But because of my history, it got to a point where I was in so much pain that no amount of Panadol, ibuprofen, or heavy painkillers were doing anything. And again, for me, totally different to a lot of people. From my lower back down, all the way down to my feet, stop working. I can't walk. And if I am walking, I am swinging my whole body just to be able to take a step. So I didn't have to get a D&C for any of my miscarriages. A D&C is called a dilation and curettage. It refers to the dilation of the cervix and surgical removal of part of the lining of the uterus and or contents of the uterus by scraping and scooping. And that is mostly used for if your loss won't pass naturally. So we didn't have to do that. but there were conversations around a potential D&C. So, but everything happened to pass naturally, so didn't have to do that.
We have the birth specialist who continues to fight for us
In every way he possibly can.
So he's confident that we will have a baby, and we wholeheartedly trust him. Couldn't ask for a better
Specialist. Absolutely not. We got very lucky there, that's for sure. Don't really know what else to say, honestly. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I can't think of anything else to say, really. It's got to stop being a taboo subject, because so many people go through it. And
if you know someone who is going through this, just
ask them what they need, if they need anything. I know that for us, we have a tendency of shutting down and shutting off, and we kind of just disappear from the world for a bit. But everyone's different.
just offer a supporting hand, that's all. And try and understand what they're going through. It's not something that you just get over.
And if you're the one going through it, for starters, I'm sorry. It sucks. But no, you're not alone. There's so many people think that they're alone when they're not. So I suppose on that mark, Hooroo
And Toodle Pip.